evening, race fans. Welcome to the CORE Racing Network tonight. Live coverage of the CORE Xfinity Series from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And we are getting towards the end of that regular season just tonight. And next week at Martinsville before we wrap up that regular season and start to go playoff racing. So tensions are high. We'll see who's ready to do a little bit of gambling here tonight to try and grab a much-needed position, see if they can squeak their way into the playoffs, or maybe grab some bonus points if they're already locked in. But it should be a good one out here tonight. The early word was a little bit loosey-goosey with these cars out here tonight. Looks like they're trying to figure out and keep these rear tires underneath them and do so far so good in practice. But we'll see if it translates through the qualifying in the race. But 80 laps on tap here tonight, and should be a good one out here tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Carl Hamrick joined in the booth by Jimmy Cobra. Jimmy, Vegas is, yeah, maybe your kind of cookie cutter 1.5 mile tri-oval, but this thing's got some banking and you got some speed here.
Yeah, there's it's that nice kind of medium, I guess, for drivers. It's not a super speedway, but it drives like a super speedway. It's not a short track, but it's not 2.5 miles. So it's a lot of good racing out here. You can there's plenty of room for side-by-side action. But yeah, these tires are a big concern. Obviously, they do wear down and burn up. So we'll see how the drivers handle that. And with that being said, obviously, if they can keep it green here, they need to make sure that they're well prepared for the green flag pit stops. That can be a little bit of hassle. I'm just watching Nick Nickerson as he's out there for another showing here tonight too. But yeah, it's they're looking pretty close out there. Actually, everybody's kind of only separated by well less than a second.
Well, you want to talk about close? We take a look at the point standings coming in here, and it's absolutely going to be coming down to the wire for these boys. In the gold division, Alan Elwood already clinched. Daniel Wild just needs a good finish here tonight. He can clinch after tonight's race. And Nico Garcia kind of in a good spot as well. But then you look at that bubble right there. You got Jancic only 9 points up. Therian separated by 5 points over Reiner, and even looking down to Moultrie, he's still got a mathematical chance to get in here with a couple good finishes. Van Weston needs a little bit of help, but still in the mix. Silver division, even closer. I mean, your top three already locked in. There could be a possibility that Remy may be done for the season. So that would open up and even another spot right there, and it could be three people really in the mix right there. Right now, Connors 2 points up on Stoneman and 26 up on Foster. And then over in the bronze division, it seems to be shaping up, and it seems to be all kind of on lockdown with those top five with Dan Phelps, Joe Thomas, John Crane, Matt Crockett, and Jeremy Gainey. But still mathematically in are Williams, Casey Phelps, and Tony Bramble. So tonight and next week are going to be absolutely paramount. You need a good finish here tonight, especially if you're below that bubble.
Yeah, I mean, you want to go out there and have a good night anyways, but obviously if you're in that bubble, you really got to pay attention and excuse me, and not get a bad finish here tonight, or it can put you out for the rest of the season as far as the championship goes. But I think it's going to come down to some patience from some, and make sure they can wind up in the right spot at the right time here at the end of the evening, and don't gamble too heavily here.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know really where to watch, man. I guess, like I say, bronze is kind of locked up with those top five there, but I mean, the silver division obviously as close as you can be with 2 races to go. But that gold division, there's so much talent up in that gold division. I mean, the season that Alan Elwood's had, and he just finally clinched after last week with now 2 races to go, just kind of gives you an idea of that. And Wiles has had a phenomenal season, coming off a win 2 weeks ago and then a second place last week. I mean, he's still not mathematically clinched in, and can do so here tonight. But I mean, you look at Bryce Reiner, he's had a lot of good runs, but he's below the bubble. Mike Moultrie, former champion, is 27 points out right now, and he's got speed. He can try and run his way back up there, but he's going to need a couple good finishes to finish this thing out. We're going to try and bring in the top 3 from last week, since we didn't get a chance to get them in for their interviews last week. So as soon as they're done with qualifying, we'll kind of bring them in one by one. Looks like we got our first one in here, and it was our winner here from last week, and that is the 25 of Jack Stoneman. Jack, you had a front row seat to watching what looked to be a dominating performance last week with Nico Garcia. It just seemed like he had the speed, he had everything he needed, and I mean, you were just stuck in a battle with Craig Jancic for what seemed to be 90 laps out of 80. I mean, you and Craig just could not let each other go, and then once you did, it was Craig and Nico getting together that really helped you get that win last week. But it's got to feel good to finally crack through.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, these past couple of races I've had in both CORE GT and CORE Xfinity, it's just been unlucky. But all of a sudden, all my luck came through for this one single race. I avoided all the wrecks that happened in front of me, qualified on pole for the first time in my CORE history here. Everybody wrecked. You know, I felt like Moses going through the Red Sea or whatever, you know. And finally bringing home to victory lane. It was, I cannot tell you how happy I was. I mean, you can ask Hines. I was in the voice chat with him. I was screaming in the microphone when I finally got my victory. So it was an absolute blast. I had a fun battle there with Nico and Craig. I feel so bad that they got wrecked there. It honestly sucks, but that's just how racing is. So hopefully it can bring it back to victory lane, back to back here in Las Vegas.
Well, it's got to feel good too when it comes to the points. You come in here tonight only 2 points behind the cut line. So I mean, a couple good finishes here, you can get your way back in there, and possibly with Diego Remy, not sure his status if he's going to be done or not. So technically, you could be above the cut line as we stand right now. So, you know, outlook for Vegas and Martinsville. You think you got a shot to make that top 5 and make your way in here?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I have a good chance here. Las Vegas is a pretty decent track of mine. Martinsville is a great track of mine. I enjoy running Martinsville. So I think Las Vegas for tonight, you know, this fixed setup honestly sucks. It's extremely loose. So my goal here is just maybe top 5, just survive. Martinsville, I'm going for the win there. I'm going to do everything in my power, no matter how aggressive I have to be to get that win.
Well, it sounds like a plan. As long as the points work out, you can maybe let your hair down, like you said, and try and go for that win at Martinsville. But before we let you go here tonight and get ready for the race, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Well, first of all, you guys in the booth here, Carl, Jimmy, you guys are awesome. Always making the broadcast here exciting and fun to watch. My dad, who's watching right now, Hines, who's my good teammate here. He'll be racing. He'll be doing his second start here in CORE Xfinity. So real excited to see him doing well here in qualifying, and hopefully he can go for a win as well.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, good luck out there. Maybe we'll talk to you after the race.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
That was your winner from last week, the 49 of Jack Stoneman. I'm sorry, the 25 of Jack Stoneman. We're going to go ahead and bring in our second and third place drivers from last week together, that being Daniel Wiles and Shane Therian. And Daniel, you had a chance. You finally break through, get your first ever CORE win. He damn near almost went back to back.
Yeah, I know. I messed up on the restart there, that last restart last week, and just couldn't catch him. It sucks, but I'm happy with a P2 with this field.
Well, P2 is exactly where you're sitting with the point standings as well coming in. A good shot to lock yourself in tonight and clinch yourself heading into Martinsville. Is that going to be the goal in mind here, and just let Martinsville kind of just be Martinsville if it needs to be?
Yeah, I would love to lock myself in the night, and that way I can go to Martinsville not worrying about making it through the whole field or making it through the whole race. So we're points racing tonight. We'll see what we can do.
All right, buddy. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
AMR Paintworks, Simrep Market, my teammates, America Racing, and you guys up in the booth. You all have a good broadcast tonight. All
right, well, good luck out there, buddy. Maybe we'll talk to you after the race.
Later, man.
That was your second place finisher last week, the 48 of Daniel Wiles. Finally, Shane, not exactly in the catbird seat like Daniel Wiles. You are right there on the bubble, 5 points ahead of the bubble right now, just ahead of Bryce Reiner. So, I mean, what's the mindset here at Vegas and coming to these last couple races to try and get yourself in that top 5?
I need to stop doing dumb strategies because I can't beat Alan or raw speed, so I'm trying all these weird, fuel saving strategies, tire strategies, and it hasn't worked. So I think tonight I'm just gonna go balls to the wall and see what happens. It's gonna be my only strategy, I guess.
Well, any strategy is a strategy worth trying, but it's tough to beat Alan out there. But I mean, you got a chance here, maybe tonight at Vegas? How do you feel?
I don't know. I only did 2 laps of practice. I kind of forgot it was Tuesday. Yeah, it's been a long week. I got a 1-year anniversary of our mass shooting up here in Maine this week, so it's a tough week for me. But so hopefully I can get a win for that. But yeah, we'll see. I didn't get any practice.
All right, buddy. Well, good luck out there. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to? Thanks, Dan.
Shout out to you guys for broadcasting. Lee grabbed me, and then of course Alan, the teammate, doesn't really help me much because he doesn't want me to beat him. But you know, shout out to him for my paint schemes.
All right, buddy. Well, good luck out there. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
That is the 3 of Shane Therian as we're about ready to get this thing underway. And we got 80 laps on tap here at Las Vegas. Barney with that green flag in hand, and we are racing at Vegas. There's Alan Elwood and Craig Jancic on that front row as they head off into turn 1. Nice size field here, 20 cars out there in action, and should see them using all kinds of lines in these corners, Jimmy.
Yeah, all kinds of lines are able to be used, especially on fresh tires. But you heard them talk about how slippery the car can be, so they're really going to be careful until those tires really get up to the temperature and not make an unnecessary too much throttle input in some of them.
Good start from the field, and especially from your leader, Alan Elwood, as he leads the field off into turn number 1. Craig Jancic settling into second, Shane Therian in third. Kevin West and Kenny Hines, your top 5 right now, with Pointer, Stoneman, Wiles, Nickerson, and Tilford rounding out that top 10. I mean, how is it when you come into these races, especially, Jimmy, you and I both know, not even a love-hate relationship, just a straight hate that we have for Martinsville. But knowing that Martinsville is looming, and if you're one of those drivers that's on the bubble, above or below, either way you know you're racing for points, how big does that make the race tonight?
I'm hoping I have a good night tonight, or my competitors have an awful race tonight. So, I mean, there's a lot of life lays down on this race. You know how many, do they have a drop race? Is somebody going to be on vacation next week? We have a little lighter field. I think we're missing a person or two out here with only 20 drivers, but still good showing here tonight. Alan Edwin out front right now over Craig Jancic and Shane Therian, obviously back there trying to make something happen, get past his teammate, but you heard him talk that he might be need to do something a little bit different here tonight to give himself a good finish.
I'll tell you what, if Shane Therian had more than 2 laps of practice, he may be dangerous out there. I mean, running out there in third, qualifying in that top 5. I mean, it's what he needs to do for just a couple laps of practice. But looking back here, this is one of the guys that is below that bubble line that we talked about. Mike Moultrie comes in 27 points down on Shane Therian. Needs to have a good finish here and another good finish at Martinsville just to have an outside chance of getting up there. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned the drop race. All these drivers have those 2 drop races, and you never know kind of how they've fallen and which of those 15 races, which 2 they are the worst that they're going to drop off that point standing. So that could certainly shake things up as well heading to the end, especially with some drivers like Kevin Foster there. You see on the inside, he's only been to maybe half the races so far this season. So if he gets a good finish here, he can drop off one of those bad races and could find himself right above that cut line pretty quickly. But it's going to be a long one here tonight, and they're going to go by quickly as this track is very racy, but it's going to feel like about 280 laps for some of these drivers that are up at the front right now, just hoping that the race would just be over right now. It's going to feel like forever.
Yeah, I mean, you have the guys trying to get in, they're trying to get over the bubble, and then you have the guys back there just going to go all out, and they're out for a win. Because their chances of a championship are done, so they're looking at wins per race. So, but right now, so far, so good. Single file for top 4, and then back a little bit of 2-wide action there, just with Stellman and Kevin West battle on out just a little bit, but continue to go around here as we're 7 laps to 80 here at Vegas.
Nick Nickerson looking to try and get to the outside of that 92 of Kevin West, but for the most part, I'm actually kind of surprised here, Jimmy. I know we kind of seem like we always ask these drivers as Stoneman goes high and Nickerson to the middle here. As I mean, maybe I should just stop saying the sentence I was going to say, which I was surprised it was as single file as it was. Well, we really go to 3 wide And then we got 2 wide up here for 3rd place as well. So never mind, forget what I was about to say. It is starting to get racy here at Las Vegas as Stoneman was on the high side going through 1 and 2 and now finds himself on the bottom side the next time by. So it is certainly mixing it up, and now we're starting to see Vegas be a little bit more Vegas, where I mean, this thing has a lot of different grooves out here, a lot of different ways you can run it. And Nickerson, what a save right there as he gets the bumper of Daniel Wiles there. That was a pucker moment for sure.
I don't even know how he got it. They're just amazing driving there by the 2. Nick Nickerson, obviously, he's going to fall back in the P number 12. He was up a few spots right from the start, having a pretty decent run, and now he's all that hard work gone. So after 10 laps, and now some not so happy shoes on that car right now, and he's going to have to be looking for that pit stop. So not quite sure on the laps before they even come in. As you know, I think it's around like 30, 35 laps, I believe.
So another question that kind of always I'm always thinking about is for those drivers that are locked into the playoffs. Like you got Alan Elwood up at the front there. You got Dave Topher that's locked in. You got some of these other drivers in the silver there. They're already locked in. Caleb Collins in there as well. You'd like to say, okay, well, I'm locked in. I got nothing to lose. I can throw caution to the wind. I can just go all out for a win and try and get me some bonus points heading into the playoffs. But I mean, you have in the back of your mind, you know what? I don't want to race these guys like a tool because I don't want them to be looking for payback while I'm making my way in the playoffs.
Yeah, you gotta be careful like who you're around, and the decisions you make so it doesn't follow you into that final part of the season where, not necessarily a deeper dive into a corner on a shorter track can happen. So, there might be a little more reluctancy to just keep the tempers down here tonight. So we might see a race go totally green and clean here. Obviously, we've seen there's a slight mistake there where Nick Dickerson, he was able to catch it. So there's that. But he's going to find himself having to work here hard tonight to get back up to the front. But knowing Nick, he'll get there. But right now, it's Alan Elwood out in front. Wasn't a little bit of battle there with Craig Jansen because watching back and forth. But Craig's falling back just a little bit, and the clutches there of Shane Therian is looking to get around. And then Kevin West and Kenny Hines are both they will just finish side-by-side action as Stoneman is creeping up on those 2 as well.
And you got to think Daniel Wiles got to be happy that Nick Nickerson was able to save it for a couple of reasons. One, he didn't want to get taken out in any kind of wreck, and didn't want to have any kind of possible penalties coming his way as well. So I mean, Wiles in 2nd place, got a nice 40+ point buffer to the cut line, but you can't take anything for granted. I mean, it just takes 2 bad races in a row. And here tonight, as speaking of it, Wiles goes into the corner coming off of 4. I mean, it can happen real quick here at Vegas. You can get taken out. It's high speed, which means it's going to be a high amount of damage. Next week at Martinsville could end up being nice for these guys. Could. I'm planning on probably not, because it's Martinsville and it's tough. But if you don't get a good qualifying effort next week at Martinsville and you're more than back, it's tough. I mean, unless you're making it through all the other carnage that's going to go on in front of you and getting through there cleanly, it's going to be a long race next week. And to think anything but survive next week and trying to get a decent sized finish, if you're going to go into next week thinking that you need a top 5, good luck to you.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough track for sure, being a short track. And unless you're one of those guys that love short tracks, don't mind passing, playing it close with everybody else, it's almost like that's always it's like I say, like Daytona will take a lot of people out, but it's so close racing, Carl. That's what I'm trying to get at. And if they, the drivers can, they're gonna bump, they're gonna bang, they're gonna send it, they're gonna tap bumpers, somebody's gonna go around. I mean, accidents are gonna happen. Hopefully they can keep those incidents down, keep it clean, because we're talking about points. There's also points for being clean too. So we'll see if those drivers use every single point they can get in order to maybe make that bubble and make it into that playoff.
Yeah, I mean, bonus points are absolutely huge, and it's that they're getting those bonus points for driving clean. The cleaner you are, the more bonus points you get with the maximum gain for a 100% clean race. And I mean, you look at the the points coming in here. We talk about Shane Therian being the one in the bubble, but he's got more race points than Craig Jansick, who was ahead of him in the points because of those bonus points. Craig Jansick's got 6 more bonus points than Shane Therian does. And you look even down further, Bryce Reiner, who's below the bubble, has got 6 more race points than Craig Jansick, but Jansick has got 15 more bonus points. So those bonus points play a huge deal as we've got a battle for the lead. The aforementioned Craig Jansick, the 97, going to the outside, new paint scheme on the car tonight. More immense paint scheme, and it makes me feel good to not see that as bumping and banging here as Elwood washed up there a little bit mid-corner. I've seen that now from a couple of drivers. It seems like that bottom line, when you have a car on the outside, really wants to wash up in 3 and 4. We've had some close calls and almost contact on a few, but right there, that was certainly some contact, and another good save there from Elwood.
Yeah, another good save where, obviously drivers showing their skills, able to control their vehicle. It's going to cost them a little bit of time, and looks like Craig's going to get the lead this time by if he can hold that momentum on that outside, and I believe he will, but also that will slip up as Craig Jansick and Alan Elwood, Kevin West sticking his nose up there, trying to mix it up even more.
Yeah, West, this is only his 2nd race here in the series. Had a good showing last week. Has plenty of speed in that 92. So would not mind getting up here and mixing it up. He's literally got nothing to lose, and he can just get out here and try and go for some wins and really kind of put his staple in and maybe get ready for next season and season number 5 and really go after these boys. But showing himself that he's got the speed to hang with the front runners as right now. The top 4, Craig Jansick, now Kevin West, Alan Elwood, and Shane Therian. Kelly Pointer going to round out the top 5 with Hines, Wiles, Stoneman, Sullivan, and Tilford rounding out your top 10. But man, back after this top 10, Jimmy, it's getting a little racy.
Yeah, I think that to say so. They're 4 wide up there. Let me get a switch. Go like I see them. But yeah, they're 4 wide. There's 4 together, 2 wide for 2 rows, and they've been doing this now for the past couple laps, and a lot of talent in that group of people right there as well. So Kenny Hines and Kelly Pointer, everybody's in there, just kind of throwing it around. And obviously you got the 48 of Daniel Wiles trying to kind of keep it clean because he wants to finish it.
Stoneman obviously coming off the win last week and finds himself now right in the mix for getting up there into the playoffs. Is kind of the same boat here. He just wants to get up here, have a good finish, and doing so right now. Qualified up in 7th place and ran up a little bit further early on in the race, but is falling back now to the back half of the top 10. But so putting on a good showing here, but it gets a little sketchy. It's luckily we don't have a track like Talladega or Daytona Super Speedways where a big one is right around the corner. But I mean, Vegas can feel like that sometimes when you're just 2x2 here. Talladega, Daytona, you go 3 wide. Here, 2 wide, it kind of feels the same way, and it can feel a little claustrophobic, especially if you're right there on the bubble and just trying to point your way into this thing. But either way, a good race from these boys. We are 25 laps in once this lap is complete here, and these guys have not necessarily thinking about pit stops maybe just yet, but figure by around lap 30, we're going to see some guys start coming in.
Yeah, it's weighing in on their mind. How long do I need to stay out? Because everybody's out. Do I need to short pit? Do the tires fall off? I'm seeing best laps at 30, just under 31 seconds, and they're up to 32 for the leaders. Back towards the back of the pack, they're at 32.6. So definitely, about a second and a half off from the start of this race at only 26 laps.
Well, we did have a taker to pit road already on lap number 24, last lap by Nick Nickerson into the pits. So he's going to shuffle his way back to the back. He's actually going to be a lap down. So lose a good amount of time coming into the pits here at Vegas. But our first take, we'll see if the short pit works out for him. Maybe taking a short pit here, and then he'll try and go long for that second one. Should see a 2 pit stop race here tonight. You know, barring any kind of craziness or any kind of yellows or anything like that come in the mix here. But right now it is Craig Jancic out front, and he is now going to be coming into the pits. So maybe a little bit shy of what we were thinking, Jimmy, as that was a pretty late lockup there for Craig Jancic. Don't want to come in here and get a penalty. He's not exactly, you know, guaranteed and clinched in here himself, but it's going to give the lead over to Shane Therian as a good chunk, half the field coming in that lap right there. So we actually, we're on the board. It should still be 2 pit stops. I think these drivers are getting far enough, deep enough into this run that it shouldn't be just a 2 pit stop race. But right now, Shane Therian just trying to stay out there, stay clean, and get some laps in.
Yeah, I just did I mean, it was just a guess. I had no idea the length that these drivers could stay out. You see Shane Therian and the 3 going out there still out there to complete lap 29. So at least 29 laps in there. You know, I kind of made sense, you know, to see Nick Nickerson kind of come in early. You know, he had that spin, you know, messed with his tires pretty good, and to see the green flag pit stops working here tonight, it seems to be pretty good. So far, so good. It looks like everybody is
Josh Van Westen is the only one that has yet to come into the pits. He's going to stay out there one more time and try and get a lap lead, and he will do so this time by. So Van Westen, again, he's still mathematically has a chance to make it in this very, very difficult gold division, as it looks like he's trying to do a little bit of saving here. Hopefully he's got enough to make it back around and get himself into to pit lane here. But Van Westen is going to need probably a little bit more than a win here tonight. He's going to need some help from the other drivers above him, as it's very close right there to the spinning out, but he's going to bring the 121 into pit lane, get it rolled down. So that should hand the lead back over to Craig Jancic, who has got a nice sizable lead now, about 1.5 seconds over Kevin West. And trying to look down through here, looks like Jeremy Gainey maybe having a pit road penalty that he is serving right now, but the rest of the field looks like they got in and off cleanly. But man, depending on when you came into the pits here, it really shook up the order here. So we got Jancic, West, Stoneman, Nickerson, and Pointer here top 5. Therian back there now in 6th. Hines back to 7th. Joe Sullivan now up into 8th. Daniel Wiles and Caleb Collins your top 10. Alan Elwood way back there in 14th, and I don't really see what the issue was here. I'm trying to see if he had any kind of issues. Otherwise, I mean, he didn't have a penalty. His pit road time was about the same as everybody else, so very interesting.
I'm not quite sure unless he got a speeding pits penalty or something, but he's not quite that far back. Either way, Alan Elwood's good to work that number 5 back to the front as he was running up front. So, you know, anything can happen during the pit stops, and, you know, whether it was just knowing that he's locked in, and just taking his time, just trying to make sure nothing happened. Either way, right now it's Craig Jancic out front, and Kevin West, Jack Stoneman, Nick Dickerson, Kelly Pointer for your top 5, Shane Therian, Kenny Hines, Joe Sullivan, Daniel Wiles, Mike Waltree, Dave Tilford, and Alan Elwood past him. So that's for your top 12. Then third keepers Kevin Foster, Caleb Collins, Tyler Bramble, Matt Crockett back there in 16th, Joseph Thomas in 17th. Van Westen will fall back out there at 18th, and then Gainey and Bramble for your 20-car field here tonight as we are lap 380.
18 cars still on the lead lap, and to see what those extra laps did for Van Westen. He is moored all the way in the back of that lead lap, and really not too far ahead of the leaders, all things considered. So, you know, trying to go for the long game there, and maybe hoping a caution fluid certainly would have played in his benefit. But he did get the lap lead, and you never know, maybe he's dividends towards the end of this race. But good battle right here at the back of the top 10. This is the battle for 10th. Moultrie on the outside. Alan Elwood trying to work his way back up through the field, and he's got the slightly fresher tires by 2 laps, and puts them to use. Goes to the inside here of Moultrie. Doesn't quite have the pass made just yet, but should have it done here in 1 and 2. But up at the front, Jancic is pulling away now out to a 2 plus second lead. So this 97 is looking to do a little bit of damage here tonight, and he is one of the ones to watch this season. He has got the second most wins in the series. Granted, that's only 2 wins, but he's been in the mix multiple times. Even the races that Alan Elwood has won here, it seems like Jancic is always up there battling with him. Elwood with 5 wins, Jancic with 2, and then a few drivers with a single win on the season. But Jancic would like to climb, I think, a little bit further, maybe get a little bit more bonus points heading into the playoffs, and just get himself a little more secure to make that playoffs as well.
Yeah, nothing like going into the final race of the main season, being secure and stuff, and maybe we'll get some bonus points there for the championship as well. So just doing a good job right now, and probably, to be honest, Carl, safest place to be is out front.
Absolutely, always is. Unless you start getting in your own head, and you're the one that brings out the cautions.
Does happen.
But either way, it's been a good race here so far, as we are about to complete lap number 37, almost getting to that halfway. And man, you would think you'd see a little bit of mixing it up here, maybe a few yellows here, but if these boys have any pressure on them, looking at these playoffs coming up in a couple of weeks, you're not seeing it just yet.
No, not yet. Definitely everybody's kind of cool, calm, collective here tonight, and one green flag pit stop in the book so far, and another one coming up here, in a matter of 20 laps or so, and we'll see how the field shifts around and how people decide to take what could be the last pit stop for Vegas.
I want to send a shout out and a thank you to everyone tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. As we got a few guys not here in action tonight. I know one of them, Nico Garcia, tuning in and watching, and teammate AJ Ryder also watching, banter back and forth, and apparently not happy. A little fray in the team there, and text messages not being sent, but we're at the right spot right here, and watching this great race, and watching some of their teammates out there like Elwood trying to work his way back up there, Ethereum trying to get himself a little bit more secure in that playoff run. But I'm sure we'll see Nico back out there trying to lock himself in next week as well, as it looked like he was on his way to win last week before just got mixed up with your leader here tonight, Greg Jancic, and had to fight back a little bit, still got a top 10, but it puts the pressure on just a little bit more. But while we are lean and green and all these drivers are running hard out there, Jimmy, I think it's about time to crank them up and give everyone out there in CRN Nation a little love here.
A little love here.
sounds of the CORE Xfinity Series here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and it is flying by. We are already 50 laps down, 30 laps to go here in this race. So we're going to see one more pit stop from all of these drivers out here. Looks like Dale Collins made a pit stop, maybe an unscheduled pit stop there on lap number 43. He's not going to be able to make it to the end from there, so he'll need to come in one more time. And he is locked into the playoffs, so maybe just something had something wrong, maybe a little too hard here in the race, but still plenty of time left in this one, and never know how this thing mixes up yet. But at the front, it is Greg Jancic. The lead has gotten a little bit smaller. Kevin West reeling him in just a little bit. Shane Theory now back up to third. Kelly Pointer, Jack Stoneman, your top five. Alan Edwards has made his way back up to sixth. And you got Kenny Hines, Daniel Wiles, Joe Sullivan, and Dave Topher in your top 10. But Nick Nickerson now is in for his second pit stop. Looks like Tyler Graham will going to join him in there as we're in the back half of this race, Jimmy, and it's flying by here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the race is clean and green, and it's clicking by, and you're seeing the big scramble up the pit stops. So we're seeing those drivers come in now, and whether 4 tires, 2 tires, full fuel. They still get to stay out a little bit longer. How long that pit stop's gonna be, but Nick Dickerson is taking his pit stop and is away. And back out he goes, but Craig Jancic is out there right now. Obviously, they're in that window. There's 26 laps, so it's really like how much fuel and who's going to undercut who. If the undercut's going to matter much here, but right now, Craig Jancic has really got this thing railed in. Right, looking for that third one.
Jack Stoneman now in from top 5. He's going to come in with pits. Yeah, we've seen the undercut really work here tonight and really gain a lot of positions for some drivers, even just by a couple laps. But all these long runs, those newer tires start to prevail a little bit more. Again, even if it's only by a lap or two, those newer tires certainly help out in the long run. But we're not going to have a full run here. To finish this thing out, and Craig Jancic getting everything he can once again in the pit road, locking it up a couple times. It's like Kevin West going to join him in there. Jack Stone will be seen in there. With Thomas in, so it's going to give the lead back to Shane Theory in for the time being. Kelly Pointer in second. Alan Elwood, Dave Topher to all stay out, but a mass exodus as a lot of drivers leaving the track coming into the pits this time by. And this is certainly going to get interesting how this thing plays out and how long we see the guys like the top 5 right now. Shane Theory now trying to get it blown up, trying to get it down there with a safe entry. He's going to do so. Kelly Pointer coming in hot behind him. He's going to get it blown up in time. But now the question is, Josh Van Wesson, how far can he get this thing? How far is he willing to go? He certainly can't make it to the end. But, I mean, he's in a situation here now where do you try and run this thing out as far as you can and hope that a caution comes out? And maybe you're in the catbird seat to get that later pit stop, and everybody else is certainly... It's I think the only cards he's got to play right now.
I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You've seen everybody kind of come in and make the pit stop. Now the pressure's on. It's the last round. You need to kind of push the car just that little bit harder, maybe to get that one position more for that championship. Or unless you're banking on Martinsville. And that's not a gamble I'm willing to take. I'll do all gambling here tonight at Vegas.
So, I mean, I got to give these drivers their due. Not only is the racing great on the track, and I mean, there's plenty of passing, there's plenty of hard racing out here. The pit stops. We've now almost, bar one driver, Josh Van Weston, have gone through 2 full pit cycles under green without an incident. I mean, we haven't even seen anybody get too sideways, any bump or anything like that coming in. And it's not the hardest pit road to come into here in Vegas, but it's certainly not the easiest. We're coming down from a decent amount of banking down to that flat apron and trying to get the car rolled up, trying to get everything out of it, trying to get all the way to the line without locking up, without speeding, and no incidents so far. I mean, hats off to these guys.
Yeah, hats off to the guys that trying to get in here and get those stops, and maybe they're listening to me. I constantly say something about pit stops every week.
Practice pit stops?
Yeah, practice pit stops. I mean, it's huge. I mean, I don't know how many. I've lost track of the amount of freezes I've broadcasted, and like over half of them, something happens on pit entry, whether it's somebody coming in too hot and getting a penalty, somebody coming in too hot and missed the entry altogether, coming in too slow, and then lose kinds of positions on the track. So it's a huge part of racing, especially when you're in leagues where you're forced to pit stop, because you're out of gas. I mean, you've got to get them things done. You have to practice those.
Plus, it's never really made sense to me. Like, if you get out there, you run 20, 30, 40, 50 laps out there on the track, can you find a way to gain, a tenth here, a tenth there, maybe upwards of, 3-4 tenths of a second on the track? Sure, absolutely. And I'm not saying practicing racing isn't what you should be doing, but you can gain half a second, maybe a second on drivers between the pit entry and the pit exit. If you can nail it, if you can figure out, how that car's going to handle coming in, coming off that track, down to that apron, and then leaving pit lane. I mean, it's you got to go around all the way through turns 1 and 2 on the apron before you can get back up on the track. I mean, there's so much time to be gained on pit stops that it amazes me that you don't spend half the practice just stopping.
Yeah. It's a big thing, and it's good to see that these drivers, they're at the point now that they can come down. They're more capable of coming down to do green flag pit stops. I don't have comms up with the drivers. I don't have. I do see a couple texts for the because I got the HUD up right at the moment, saying what people are saying pitting out. So it's good to see the drivers communicating with each other, and hopefully the other drivers are able to see that or hear it. And get a good heads up and alleviate the mishap happen when trying to.
Not sure what happened to the 76 Joe Sullivan. He is in pit lane and has been there for quite some time, so might have been some damage. Didn't see anything pop up here on SDK for any kind of incidents, but the 76 seems to be out of this race. And Caleb Collins was back in here to make his final pit stop, as was Josh Van Wessen coming in here on lap number 60. So pit cycles have been completed unless we get any kind of lane caution here. I'm sure everybody would dive back in here, but as it stands, it is Greg Jancic at the front trying to grab his third win on the season. Shane Thurian in second, Kevin West in third, then you got Pointer, Elwood rounding out your top 5. Stoneman, Nickerson, Tilford, Wiles, and Hines going to round out that top 10, but we're getting down to the end of this thing. We're going to be 15 laps to go at the line.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to catch the flight up to over there to Pennsylvania. We got the Tricky Triangle Cup next with UCRL, and they're going to tackle on the good old Pocono for 70 laps. So should be some great racing over there. So once everybody's done here watching, if you want to still see some great racing, head on over to UCRL still, but we're going to be over there at Pocono at UCRL.
Yeah, obviously, my home track here, being Pocono, and the former home track of Pocono is always it's a fun one. It's a road course oval for what a lot of people believe it to be. It's 3 completely different corners there, and it should go on some good races. UCRL always does, but we got to finish this one out right here. It is still Greg Jancic at the front. He's been leading the way here, but there's still a lot of racing to go, and what happened here to Kevin Foster, sliding back here late, and now sitting in P14 right now. He's got a lot of drivers ahead of him that he'd love to be ahead of to try and reel in this points battle. He's got Greg Jancic at the front, which I'm just realizing now is showing a nice silver that is Greg is a driver's 7. Go ahead and do some housekeeping here and get Greg in some correct color.
Let me clear that up real quick.
That's pull that up right there. But I mean, he's still got Jack Stoneman, who was ahead of him in the point standings. He is now 6th place overall. So Stoneman is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's the highest running silver driver right now. Dave Topher already locked in. He's running there in 8th place, and Tyler Bramble, the same thing. He was locked in 12th place. So it's not what Foster wants to see right now. To see that car battling up there in the top 10, but just a little bit off here tonight, just not feeling it. But the man that is feeling it is that 97 Greg Jancic, as We have 12 laps to go here at Vegas. It's certainly not over just yet, but we'll get to these winning laps here.
Yeah, definitely not what some of these drivers are kind of wishing for. You see Alan Elwood up there and now in battle with Kelly Pointer as a 72 of Caleb Collins out there making his way by, trying to maybe get a late break here and get back on that lead lap for a little better finish than 17th. But either way, the 75 and 5 are going to do battle here. The 5 looking down to the inside for a clean pass here. So definitely things heating up here towards the end. That's for Pete number 4. Then you got to battle back in Pete number 10 with Daniel Wiles and Kenny Hines, and then back in and we took 16th place here with Joseph Thomas and Van Westman. So your biggest mover of the night right now is the number 84 Mike Moultrie, sitting in Pete number 11. He's up 7 spots, so not the night that he wanted for starting. Probably had a mistake, but pretty solid run, sitting right there in the pack. Has had a pretty tough season so far.
Yeah, definitely a down season here for the 84. We know he's got the potential to get up there and battle for the overall championship, but just a little bit off this season, and it's why he's got a uphill battle coming in here tonight for the points. And this finish here, if it ends up being here just outside the top 10, may be all but up in the nail in the coffin for him to make the playoffs here, but he'll still be in the mix, I'm sure. He'll still be out here and trying to grab wins and maybe helping his teammate Daniel Wiles, as he's going to vie for the championship, or at least trying to get going here in this first round. But man, we got a heck of a battle still brewing here for 4th and 5th, as Kelly Pointer has it, but Alan Elwood wants it, as we are down to 8 laps to go. And hold everything. We have got a major turn of events. Your leader involved in a wreck.
Kelly Pointer and Alan Elwood got into it as well.
Take a look again at what happened here. And Jansen coming up, and a little bit of netcode involved, but getting together with the 8 of Kevin Foster. And your leader getting taken out. Van Weston just sneaks by. When we play this out here, and as they come down the track, Kelly Pointer, hard impact, collects Alan Elwood as well, as this race just got turned on its head, and what looked to be a walk-away victory for Craig Jancic, that is no more. And it's just about anyone's game up front right now. Shane Therian showing as your leader. We'll see if anybody decides to come in the pits and get some fresh tires. I mean, we've seen new tires pay huge dividends here. I mean, even just a couple laps newer. So I'm actually really surprised we didn't have any takers coming into the pits here, Jimmy.
You know, it's one way to rubber my neck back to the race here as I'm trying to get on this plane up to Pocono, but it's going to be a good one here. It's definitely is going to stir things up just a little bit, and with it being so close to the end, might not be the last caution there, Carl.
No, I mean, this thing, it's going to be close. Not sure if this is going to be a green-white checker or if it's going to be an unofficial one. It's going to be close to that. I mean, next time by, we're going to get 5 laps to go. But, I mean, huge wreck right there involving first place, 3 of the top 5. First, 4th, and 5th in that wreck. It looks like Alan Elwood did elect to stay out there. And honestly, I mean, it looks like that car is pretty fine. I mean, the hood went missing, but we've seen it before where iRacing just throws that fishing pole out and reels it back in there. We'll try and take a look at the front end, and yeah, you see certainly some damage on that right front, but not nearly as much as it was initially. And it's honestly it's good for Elwood that it did, but to me that's something that iRacing needs to clean up. I mean, they got a really great damage model. But when you see stuff like that, when things fly off the car, there's no reason for them to come back on the car. I mean, they need to stay off. If you lose a bumper, you lose a spoiler, you lose a hood, something like that, it needs to be gone.
Yeah, it's some things that just, obviously they do a good job, with having a damaged model in the first place. But little things like that, and it's, obviously way above my talent code writing to make sure things fall off and continue to fall off. But definitely do see some strange, unique physics from iRacing every now and then.
So I guess if you want to be an optimist, you can look at this caution being just an absolute positive for everything, except for obviously your leader Craig Jancic, because Jancic, I mean, actually he was one of those guys that was a little bit close to the bubble. Now that I'm thinking about it, so he would love to have a good finish here tonight, but now still in the pits. I think he had to tow back to pit lane. Looks like an 18th place right now. But, Kelly Pointer not in the mix for making it into the playoffs. Alan Elwood already locked in. So it didn't necessarily take out any of them from any kind of contention or, bubble issues or anything like that. But Shane Therian certainly would love to finally crack through and get a win here tonight. We talked to him before the race, and he said he just wants to get out there and get as much speed as possible. He knows a lot of times he doesn't have a chance to compete with Alan Elwood and some of the guys out here, but he's always up there. He's always up there mixing it up, and it just seems like it's a matter of time until that 3 finds victory lane here this season, and this could be his chance. But he's got newcomer Kevin West on his outside for this restart. We're going to double him up. Alan Elwood is right behind him. How much is that damage going to play into it? We're going to find out here real soon. Jack Stoneman really racy last week and good enough to get the win last week, and at that 25. Nick Nickerson, one of his 2 races out here this season, he's looking to just come in here and be a spoiler. Dave Tilford up there, already locked into the playoffs, so he's got nothing to lose. I mean, there's a lot of storylines up here at the front end of this top 10. Anything can happen. As we come by this time by, it's going to be 3 laps to go, so it's not a green-white checkered. I'm not saying we won't have any, because this thing is far from over, even though it's 3 laps to go.
It's definitely lining up to be a showdown here. That's for sure. Is kind of a little behind as I'm broadcast live as switched to remote mode. So definitely can't wait to see this thing wrap up as I am preparing for the show over the Ultimate Conquest recently.
Well, this is going to be the first restart we had all night, as they went green this entire way until now, but now it is in control by Shane Therian. They were in the restart zone. He's on the loud pedal, and we are back to racing here at Las Vegas, heading into turn 1. A great jump there from the 3, and he brings his teammate along. Not sure if he really wanted to or not, but Alan Elwood is going to get inside and get around Kevin West. Again, how much that damage is going to play a part. Already Kevin West looking to the inside. Little rebuttal, great side draft down the backstretch. He's going to put that 92 on the inside. We've seen guys drift up here. Looks like he's able to stick it down to the bottom. Nick Nickerson right there, keeping an eye on this battle as well. And certainly looks like Elwood struggling a bit on that outside. He's going to hold on to 3rd right now as Kevin West moves into 2nd. Battle for 4th and 5th. Nickerson and Stoneman getting into it here, very close. Here comes Dave Tilford to get up here in this mix, but we've got 2 laps to go here, and now Nickerson looking for the pass on Elwood. That 5 certainly looks like it's hurt a little bit and starting to drop back, but it is going to be white flag in the air for the 3 one more time around. Can Therian crack through and get his first win on the season? We've got some wrecking on the front stretch. It's not going to bring out a caution. We'll get to that here in a second. Looks like Joe Thomas, Daniel Wiles, Kenny Hines involved in this one. But down the backstretch, the 3 has got a 2/10 of a second lead over Kevin West. And he is going to come out of turn 4, just keep it off the wall. And your 3, Shane Therian, gonna find victory lane here in Vegas. Kevin West, Nick Nickerson rounding out your top 3. Jack Stoneman, Dave Tilford, your top 5. Then you got Elwood, Moultrie, Crockett, Bramble, and Van West in your top 10, but we need to take a look back and see exactly what happened with that wreck here at the end.
Just want to say congratulations to all the drivers as you're looking up that fast replay. But I'm gonna hop ship here, and I'll catch everybody over. Again, thanks to all the fans for tuning in for yet another great race here for the CORE Xfinity Series, and look forward to next week at Martinsville.
And right there you see it, the 60 getting into the back corner of Daniel Wiles. So Kenny Hines, Daniel Wiles getting taken out in that one, and Kenny Hines goes for a bit of a ride that Crockett catches him a little bit on the front stretch there. And then I believe Joe Thomas ends up coming in here as well right at the end and getting involved. Take a look at that one more time. On board here with the 60 as we go for a bit of a ride, taking this white flag. Certainly not the way the 60 wanted to end the night here, but certainly the way that this man did, as he is your winner here tonight, the 3 of Shane Therian. We'll get these guys in. We got a little bit of time here before I need to head over there to UCRL and get them all squared away, but what a finish, what a race here, and certainly exactly what Shane Therian wanted to have here tonight. Try and get these top 3 guys all queued up if we can. There we go. All right, so we will go ahead and start bringing in our top 3. Third place tonight is going to be the 2 of Nick Nickerson. Nick, first of all, welcome back in here, and I guess you're just on the 1.5 mile tri-oval schedule for this season.
Yeah, well, trying not to. Couldn't make the past couple weeks. I was out of town, but I'm going to try to hit as many of these as I can.
Well, listen, we know you're one of the top guys out here, but I mean, you gotta be impressed with the amount of skill that you've seen. I know you've been kind of out a little bit here these last couple seasons and not fully participating, but you come in here and it's not just as easy as it was.
Yeah, I mean there's probably a good solid like 10 guys that can run pretty fast, pretty consecutively, and I wasn't really sure where I was going to be at this race because I wasn't doing so good for qualifying and practice. But during the beginning part of that race, I was feeling pretty good until I spun myself and set myself behind for pretty much the rest of the race because I had to pit so much earlier than most of the faster guys. But got pretty lucky with that yellow at the end, so that was able to allow me to cool my tires down and just give it a couple 2 or 3 laps of the hardest runs I could, and somehow mustered up with a nice 3rd place. I'll take it after that one.
Well, you talk about spinning. I know a lot of guys pre-race here, pre-session, we're talking about the car being extremely loose, and it was really, really hard to deal with it. It seemed like maybe with the half fuel here tonight, it was a little bit easier to handle. It didn't seem like it was too bad, but how'd you feel out there?
Man, it was just, especially for those first couple laps, man, it was just so loose. Like, it was hard to get back on the throttle. The back end would just want to come around. But after, I don't know, 3 or 4 laps, it felt pretty well planted, honestly. I don't know what it would have felt like with full fuel, if the half fuel made it better or worse, but I didn't really mind it too much. And typically with this car this season, with this year's setups, like the splitter is just smashing off the ground the entire race, and I didn't really see that much with this setup, so overall I thought it was a good combo.
Well, I mean, you come in and you get the win at Kansas, your other race here, and you come out of here with another podium here on your second night out. So it's got to feel good that even with the extra competition here, and maybe some things kind of going your way a little bit here tonight, but you can still get up here and get out here and compete with these boys.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I want to run this league is when there's guys that are faster than you, the only place to go is keep going up and learning off them. So I don't know how some of these guys are throwing those qualifying laps down, but I definitely want to figure it out. So stick around as much as I can.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, congrats on the podium here tonight, the third place. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Man, just you and all your admins that keep this league running for I don't even know how many years now. It's cool to see that it's still thriving as it was when I first joined. Christ, it feels like 8 years ago now. I don't know what it actually is, but and yeah, all these guys that participate, man, in the broadcast. It's a freaking awesome show you got here, and glad to be part of it.
I appreciate it, buddy. Well, congrats again on the third place here tonight. Hopefully, we'll see a little bit more coming up.
Definitely, man. Take care.
That's your third place finisher here tonight, the two of Nick Nickerson. Second place tonight is going to be Kevin West. As Kevin, you had a good race all night here. You had that 92 up front the entire time, and I mean, 2 races into your schedule here, it's been pretty good. I mean, you clearly have the speed to hang with these boys, and you come out just short here tonight, but heck of a run out there tonight.
Had a pretty good qualifying run. I think we qualified third.
Yep.
Fell back a little bit there on the short run. I just didn't have the short run speed that I needed to hang with those guys. But I'd usually reel them in at the end of the tire run. But man, I had a lot of fun though racing the 97, and I think it was the 3 car. It was a good race. I can't complain.
So talk to me about the restart there at the end. I mean, you guys go 70 plus laps, a green flag, and don't have a start since the beginning of the race. And then all of a sudden you have that late restart. I was surprised. I guess track position really meant a lot, but I was surprised that we didn't have as many takers, let alone hardly any takers in the pit lane for tires there. But you get jumped a little bit on that restart by the 5 and Al gets the inside, but you wasted no time getting right back around him. Was that always kind of going to be the plan? You needed to get by him to have any kind of chance there with the 3?
Yeah, it was all going to come down to the jump that I got on that restart, and unfortunately I didn't get it. I think maybe the leader and the third place car were kind of communicating there on the restart.
Yep.
But yeah, I needed to time it just a little bit better, but it's really hard to do.
Well, we look ahead to next week. Certainly nothing like these past couple weeks here. No more mile and a half. We go half-mile racing at Martinsville. Thoughts on Martinsville? Feelings? Do you like it? How do you feel in the short tracks? You can say you hate it, because I absolutely hate it. And I'm glad to be in a booth.
That I hate it. I mean, I kind of have a love-hate relationship, I guess, with Martinsville. I'm decent there driving wise, but man, it's just so easy to get ran over and have your race turned bad out of nothing of your own doing. So we'll go and we'll see what we can do at Martinsville.
Well, I mean, so far in your in your season here, I mean, you come away last week at Charlotte with a I believe, unless I'm thinking of the Must be thinking of somebody else. Week. That's right, you were out last week. But either way, you came away with a second place here tonight, and it wasn't easy. I mean, these guys up front here have a ton of speed, and when you get in these long runs, I guess it sounds like the long run is really where you need it to be as that car kind of came alive a little bit.
Yeah, that always seems to be my strong suit. A lot of these guys really fire off fast and kind of burn their stuff up a little bit. And I tend to just let them go a little bit. Sometimes it kind of bites me. Sometimes I just can't get back to them at the end of the run. But yeah, I kind of pride myself on having long run speed versus short run speed. I think it takes a little bit more skill.
Well, either way, you find yourself up here in second place here tonight, just one spot short. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
I want to give a shout out to all my mobile homies over on TikTok watching the TikTok stream. We got about 13,000 people watching here. We got 2,300 likes on the stream. Shout out to the mobile homies over on TikTok. Shout out to the wife. Shout out to the fam.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats again on the second place here tonight. We'll see you next week if you got anything for Martinsville.
All right. We'll see you next week.
That's your second place finisher here tonight, the 92 of Kevin West. Finally, we talked to him before the race, but we're going to talk to him after the race here as well. And whether he's surprised or not, I guess 2 laps. That's all you need. Just get out here, practice for 2 laps, get your win. It's that easy.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? I don't even know what happened.
Still searching for words. I completely understand.
I said to myself, I was like, I'm going to need something to happen to Craig if I'm going to catch him, I think. And literally not even half a lap later, he got wrecked, it looked like. I don't know, I didn't go back and look, but that's one way to get my first win in this league. I'll take it. And I beat Alan. Like I said, it was hard to beat him, and I beat him. I'll take it. It's a win-win for me tonight.
Exactly. Yeah, everything kind of just fell into place for you to get your first win. But I mean, when you're sitting back there behind Craig, and you still have a good run going, you're still up there in the top 3, and I think you're running second at the time. I mean, were you kind of content at that point? Just let me just go ahead and finish here in the top 3 and get some good solid points and head to Martinsville with a good shot at this playoffs. Were you okay with that, or were you still trying to push and catch up to him?
Oh, I was pushing. I needed to keep up with the 2 to 2.5 tenths a lap to be able to get him on the white flag. That's what it was looking like, and I don't know if it would have stayed that way, but it was looking like I would have got within like 2 tenths of him at the white flag. So I have no idea what would have happened, but I was pushing. I wanted the win. I saw where the other playoff guys that I'm racing where they were, and I was like, I need. Like second place is good, but like I want the win, and I got it without really having to try, I guess. I mean, just had to hold off those guys to the end. But
I was gonna say you did have to try, because even though you got the things falling your way, it was a caution that came out, and all of a sudden you got to restart. I mean, how much nerves were going through right there?
It's weird. I used to never get nervous when I go for wins, but I don't win much often anymore. I'm a little washed up, as I would call myself. But yeah, a little nervous. I was like, I wanted to win this week. It's a tough week for me, and glad I got it, because the other league I race in is super hard. It's got like Coke Series drivers and stuff in it. So I'm glad I got one win that I wanted this week. It's makes me really puts me in a good mood.
As it should. Well, congrats on the win here, your first win on the season, and doesn't necessarily lock you in the playoffs, but certainly a really good points day, and it should all but help you secure yourself, as long as you Martinsville doesn't bite you too bad next week. But go ahead and celebrate the win here tonight. Before we let you go, who do we want to give a shout out to or thanks to one more time?
I'm gonna just shout out you guys again. Alan for the paint schemes, and then obviously. He was helping me there at the last 3 laps. I'm like, he's being my shield there, holding off, giving me enough room to pull away a little bit. So big thanks to him, and everyone else. The lappers were nice to me tonight, so shout out to them. It was good. Everyone raced good tonight. It was nice.
All right, buddy. Well, congrats on your first win here on the season. Hopefully it's just the first of many to come here, and maybe grab 1 or 2 more in the playoffs. But before we get to that, I mean, we got Martinsville next week, so I guess save some energy, because I'm sure that's going to be a little bit more wild than here tonight. But take some time to celebrate this win, buddy.
All right, thank you.
That's your winner here tonight, the 3 of Shane Therian, finally cracking through and getting that W. That it just seemed like it's been eluding him for quite some time, but certainly well deserved. And yeah, maybe a little help from his teammate. Maybe Alan. He may blame it on the damage there, but maybe he was finally being a good teammate and letting somebody else win for once, and it finally gets up there. And it feels like for Shane, it feels like a win that's been just kind of haunting him forever. I mean, it was the same thing last season. He got to see all his teammates get up there and get a win, and it was just sitting back there. He's always contender, but finally gets through. Finally, the cards fall his way, and he gets the win here tonight. I want to thank everyone for tuning in here to the broadcast of the CORE Xfinity Series. 1 more race next week. In case we haven't said it before, it's Martinsville next week, and it's quite a bit on the line for a lot of these playoff drivers and hopeful playoff drivers that are right around that bubble line, and it's going to be a good one to tune into for sure, whether it's going to be a caution fest like Martinsville tends to be, or it's good racing. Either way, there's quite a bit on the line, but you're going to have to tune in next week to find that out. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that Sirian has to offer, And stay tuned here. If you haven't done so already, switch on over to the broadcast of the UCRL race from Pocono with the Gen 4s, the Fire Breathers Throwback Cup Series, as I'm looking forward to that one already. And I'm always a fan of Pocono. Hopefully you guys are too. Check it out. But for myself and Jimmy here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, we'll see you at the track.